Morning.
Valentine, a town built on mud, wood, and the people who passed through it. I've ridden through Valentine more times than I can count. I've met strangers, played poker, gotten into fights at the saloon. I've spent nights at the inn, bought a horse from the stable, and passed through these streets like they were just another stop on the map. But I never stopped to ask, what would it really be like to live here? Most people who live in Valentine aren't actually outlaws or gunslingers. They're just people trying to survive. The ranchers need a place to sell the cattle. The workers need somewhere to drink after a long day. And the businessmen exist because people depend on them. A town like Valentine doesn't exist on accident. It exists because people need a place to trade, work, and rest. The first thing that I noticed about Valentine is that there's mud everywhere. I mean, there's almost no grass anywhere in this town. Just take a look on the boardwalks. No matter how many times the workers sweep or mop them, they just can't get rid of the mud. The reason for this is because the streets are constantly being torn up by horses, wagons, and stagecoaches passing through every day. The traffic moving through makes it impossible to keep the town clean. The next thing I notice is almost every building in Valentine is made of wood, with the exceptions being the bank and the jail cells, which are built with brick for security and to prevent those buildings from catching on fire. But I also noticed more than what I could just see. If you listen, you can hear the sounds of hammering, people passing by and saying hello, dogs barking, music from the saloon, the sounds of horses and stagecoaches. The sounds alone make you feel like you're in a little old western town.
You ain't wrapped too tight there, friend.
The livestock here would make the town smell like a farm or like manure. The smokers would make the town smell like tobacco, and the chimneys from the buildings might give the town a slight industrial type of smell. The overall feeling of this town is peaceful.
So,
To understand what life in Valentine is really like, we have to look at the people who make this town function. Every building, every street, and every job here exists because someone depends on it.
Move already.
Which brings us to today's question. Do you think you know the most important business in Valentine? If you said Worth's General Store, you're probably right.
Mister.
Something slip your mind?
Worth's General Store, owned by Jacob Worth, is one of the most successful businesses in Valentine. The store sells everything from food and medicine to ammunition and horse supplies. Everyone in town needs supplies, so Worth's General Store is the central point of the town's economy. Unlike the specialty shops, such as the gunsmith or the stable, the general store serves pretty much everyone. One of the only items the player can't buy at the general store is firearms, which are purchased from the gunsmith instead. If you need to buy or sell any fresh cut meats or game, you could head over to the side of the hotel where you can find an outdoor butcher. Next, let's take a quick look at the gunsmith. The gunsmith in Valentine is owned by Ralph L. Dalton. As you can see here, the sign at the top of the building reads, R.L. Dalton, sold, repaired, advertising that Ralph not only sells but also repairs firearms. There's another sign that reads, weapons sold, best quality guns in the state. If you look inside on the shed to the left, there's a box of spare gun parts, some newspapers, wine, ammo, and if you look behind the shelf, you can see where Ralph either builds or repairs firearms. Don't step behind the counter though. Ralph will just tell you it's off limits.
Wait, you can't be there. Come on.
Don't worry about it.
My personal favorite detail of this shop is the stuffed birds on this shelf and the cougar in the corner over here. Before I show the rest of Valentine, I'm sure you're wondering, what is there to eat in town? It would be cheaper for the townsfolk to buy their own meats from the butcher and cook at home, or even hunt for their own food. But if you were just passing through, you could stop at either of the saloons in town where they prepare hot meals. The Smithfield Saloon on Main Street, which is more busy and more fit for travelers passing through looking for a good time, is the perfect place to get dinner in Valentine, where they serve beef stew and lamb's fry. It's also a great place to just hang out, get a drink, play poker, and they even have a barber here so you can get a haircut. This is where we'll be stopping for dinner tonight. Now that we've ate dinner, let's make our way to the Saints Hotel, where travelers go to spend a night in town. In the morning, we'll stop by the King Saloon for breakfast.
Ah, you ugly bastard. You're getting old.
Now let's head to the King Saloon. This is a more local and quieter saloon than the larger and more popular Smithfield Saloon on Main Street. Here they serve oatmeal and lots of gin and whiskey, and the hungover locals seem to prefer to sleep here instead of the hotel. Here they have a list of rules on the wall that reads, no cussing, no fighting, no horses inside, which I'm not even sure how you would get one in here, no spitting on the floor, no pinching the girls, no coach robbers, no con artists, and no flea-bitten drifters. Locals also come here to bet on five-finger fillet. But if I weren't just visiting the town and actually lived here, this is around the time I'd have to do something for work. Aside from working at one of the shops or saloons here in Valentine, there's other jobs that you can see just by looking around the town. Of course, there's the sheriff, deputies, and bounty hunters, but what else would you do as a local in Valentine? The town of Valentine is mainly a town run on cattle, so the main occupation here would be ranching and livestock work. Cowboys in Valentine are in charge of bringing herds of sheep, pigs, goats, cows, and horses into the stockyards. The only livestock commonly found in Valentine are mainly sheep, but also horses and chickens. Ranch hands would be in charge of feeding and caring for the livestock. There's cleaners and maintenance workers, which you can regularly see just by passing through town. Carpenters, construction workers, and lumber workers. There's freight drivers and stagecoach drivers, a newspaper vendor, and other jobs that Valentine would need to function, but you can't typically find just by wandering through town, such as water and sanitation workers, mechanics, repair workers, and railroad workers. The next place I want to take a look at is the horse stables and the workshop next to it. Here you can see they make different kinds of horse equipment such as horse bridles and saddles. Here's the furnace where they melt metal hot enough to mold it into equipment for the horses, like horseshoes and wagon hardware. They have a coal storage bin right here so they can easily transfer coals into the furnace. Right here they have a blacksmith bellows to pump air into the furnace. You can see the tools they use to handle the hot metals on the table here. They have a pair of tongs and a crucible to pour the hot metals into a mold or a workpiece when needed. The bucket is most likely used for water to cool down or quench the hot metals. On the wall here you can see a wagon wheel. This suggests the workshop probably works on wagon repairs as well as horse equipment. There's a saddle here hanging by the wall. You can see horse bridles hanging right here, a horseshoe, and more horse equipment hanging on the wall over here. Outside, you can see someone using a grindstone to sharpen tools such as axes. There's also maize and grits for horses on the side of the building over here. Now let's take a look at the sheriff's office. As soon as you come inside, you can see that there's a bed in the back of the building where Sheriff Malloy is currently sleeping, and where he most likely usually sleeps at night. In the middle of the building, you can see there's a potbelly stove, which is keeping the place warm. Over here, you can see there's a map of New Hanover hanging on the wall, and a collection of books on top of this shelf over here. I really like the look of this skull hanging on the wall right here. Now, if you've done something really bad in Valentine, this is where you'll be brought to. This is called the gallows. This is where the sheriff will hang you and sentence you to death. As you can see here, this is the Valentine Saving Bank. There's some checks on the table here, along with a pen and some ink. If you look on the floor over here, you can see a spittoon. This is used for spitting in for people who are using chewing tobacco or just for any reason. I noticed they also have one at the hotel over here. This shows how common it was for people to use chewing tobacco at the time. Everything in the back of the bank is highly secured, as you can see with the metal bar windows and doors right here. They also have a security guard by the fireplace over here, armed with a rifle, just in case anybody tries something funny. The last business we'll be looking at in Valentine is the Valentine Station. This is where you'll be coming to if you ever need a ride on the train. As you can see right here, they have an old-fashioned scale, which is used for cargo that's brought onto the train. Once you come inside, the first thing you notice is luggage on the floor and the station clerk over here. There's also a map of Valentine and New Hanover on the wall over here. There's ashtrays and small clocks on the table, also a cigarette card I forgot to pick up. There's a bulletin board on the wall that shows the order of all the stops that the train will be making. If you were a poor person living in Valentine, you'd most likely be living in this little camp over here. There's a table made of wooden board and crates, barrels used as seats, there's campfires, and just tents everywhere.
Who the hell are you? You best go find a teeth to suck
Oh, and the
on.
people here don't seem to take kindly to visitors too well. But if you made a lot more money though, you could live across from the saloon over here or at one of the houses behind the sheriff office over here. Valentine isn't just a place people pass through. It's a town full of workers, travelers, ranchers, and outlaws, all sharing the same small piece of the frontier. There's something to see in every corner of this town. If I missed anything, or if you have any ideas of what I should do in the next video, let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching.